Ray Stubbs with that report. Well, more boxing to come with European welterweight champion Gary Jacobs in action from Biloxi, Mississippi. Who will end up with the Biloxi Blues? Our commentator is Jim Neely.
Gary Jacobs, now 28 years old, in a splendid pair of silver trunks. There's a non-title defence for him, but one cannot underline the importance of this particular contest. And the man in the claret and blue, the Biloxi bomber, that's Rusty Derouen from Biloxi, Mississippi, the USA. Just 25 years old, some 3 years younger than the reigning European welterweight champion Gary Jacobs from Glasgow. Derouen has had some 37 professional contests, so he's almost up to Jacobs in terms of experience. He's won 32 of them, he's lost 5, and of those 32 victories, he's had 24 inside the distance, so he's a pretty impressive puncher. But one must remember that 4 of his 5 losses have been by stoppage. So Jacobs, with a WBC world rating of number 3 at the moment, has very much got Pernell Whitaker, who's the WBC champion, in his sights. He needs to impress all concerned, especially the Americans, because they do like people who can punch. And I'll tell you, I don't think I've seen Gary Jacobs come forward with this sort of venom in the opening round of any contest for some time. Remember, this for Jacobs, it's very much a non-title defence. My goodness, what a start. And Derouen under fierce pressure, and John Coyle has stepped in straight away. And, well, Jacobs not just means business, but looks as if he is going to do the business. Last time out, Jacobs was very impressive back in April in his native Glasgow, defending his European title against the Italian Alessandro Duran. And he stopped a man who had never been down in 6 rounds. Jacobs looking very measured and calculated, taking his time. Varying the shots very nicely, going into the body, and you can see the man from Biloxi leaving his lower ribs exposed. Just about 30 seconds of the first remaining. This scheduled for 10. Gary Jacobs started as if he wanted to go home fairly early. Rusty Derouen seems to have gained a little bit of his composure. It has been Jacobs' round without a single shadow of a doubt, and he'd be more than pleased with the opening 3 minutes of boxing here in the Civic Hall of Wolverhampton. There's that shot to the rib going in again, and tough man that he is, Derouen has to cover up, and Jacobs, nothing much in the way of emotion on the face, will, I think, be delighted with that. It was a good start by Gary Jacobs. This is 44th professional fight. He's won 38, 22 inside the distance, remember. And Jacobs started off that first round in considerable style. Oh, changed the shot. Look at that variation. 2 shots, head, body, head again. And Rusty Derouen did awfully well to survive. My goodness, what a start. Well, not too many of them missed. And Jacobs working hard at close range, just bending the elbows, getting the full force of the shoulder behind those shots. And the man from Biloxi, well, almost bombed out. This welterweight contest, 10 stone 9, scheduled for 10 3-minute rounds. And the first 4 3-minute rounds dominated by the man in silver, Gary Jacobs from Glasgow, 28-year-old reigning European champion. A little bit of wildness now in the work of Rusty Derouen, who's been on the back foot for about 12.5 minutes. Well, that was a lovely change in attack by Gary Jacobs. He came forward with the right, a little feint with the right, and then the left came across quickly. And that was the first time we've seen that. And I think Derouen maybe has just had enough. The constant pounding and pressure really getting through to him. He's looked across to his corner, and I think John Coyle may decide that he's had enough. Nope. And I don't think Derouen will be allowed, or shouldn't be allowed, to take much more of this, because he's been desperately brave. But there has to be a point where boxers have to be protected even from themselves. Again, John Coyle comes in about midway through this 5th round, and Jacobs putting Rusty Derouen through the paces and through the mill. Derouen getting out of his own corner. This is a man, remember, Rusty Derouen, who's lost only 5 times in 32 professional contests, and he stopped 24 opponents himself. Jacobs again, body and head.
Right, step back.
There's the right again, and a lot of swelling now underneath both eyes of Rusty Derouen.
Let's keep it going. Come on, son, let's take him out.
One thing Jacobs doesn't want to do, especially since he's so much in control, is get remotely careless.
Come on, Jake, double him up, take him out.
Just a few seconds to go to the end of the 5th, and Rusty Derouen is still there. Solid jab. Oh, good finish by Jacobs. And this time he doesn't have to go too far, and he's happy enough to sit down and unmarked and seemingly unruffled. But it was a very, very good round yet again from Gary Jacobs, and one in which one suspected that Rusty Derouen from Biloxi, Mississippi might have gone. So Jacobs, there's the change in shot. Feinted with the right, came in with the left, and that really did rock. And Jacobs a little bit, well, not too fussy what he's doing with his head at this stage inside, but it's professional boxing for you. There he is again, and John Coyle perhaps may just have stepped in there. So Bo Williford in the corner, along with Rodney Derouen, Rusty's father, and Rusty Derouen thinking to himself, I wonder how much longer I've got to go on against this guy, because he's not going to leave me alone, is he? Rusty Derouen in the blue and claret, a little bit slow coming off the stool. He's had 5 very torrid rounds of boxing from the silver trunk Gary Jacobs, the European champion, and there simply is no escape for Derouen.
Break! Let go, let go. Come on, Gary.
Well, the solid barrage to the head and especially to the body has really taken the steam out of Rusty Derouen, but he's there.
Break! Go back, back goes.
And that's it. That's it. I think Rusty Derouen himself shook his head even before John Coyle stepped in. And he said to himself, this man, Gary Jacobs, the European champion, is just that little bit too good. But the question is, just how good would Pernell Whittaker regard Gary Jacobs in terms of giving him a shot at Pernell Whittaker's WBC world title? But a performance of extreme confidence and extreme competence by Gary Jacobs. He said, yeah, I'm very pleased with that, and so he might be. A stoppage in the 6th round, and Gary Jacobs really looking like a champion, and who knows, a world title contender.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 51 seconds of the 6th round, the referee has stopped the contest. Rusty Derouen in no position to continue. The winner, Gary Jacobs.
So there's the finish again, and that clipping, slicing.
Ladies and gentlemen, your
right hand,
appreciation,
followed by the
please, for a
left,
very good
and
sporting
well
move
done,
there,
John
please,
Coyle, for stepping in.
Derouen.
Derouen on the ropes, on the temple that time, and he said, no, thank you very much more, and he didn't really have to take that left. Well done, John Coyle. Gary, many congratulations. Was that the sort of performance that would give Pernell Whitaker something to think about?
Of course so. I mean, that's who I'm after. Pernell Whitaker, eat your heart out. I'll now go either into number 1 or number 2. He's got to fight me sometime. I have to keep on winning. I'm putting on performances like that. I've got to get my chance. Got to.
You looked as competent and as confident, I think, as anybody has ever seen you.
Well, 43 fights. I'm not going to get any worse. I hope not anyway, especially when I'm number 2 in the world. I've been looking for a world title fight for 5 years now. Now I must get my chance. I'll keep on fighting, keep on winning, no matter who it is. Whoever's put in front of me, until I get the chance to fight for the title, I have to just keep performing like that.
What happens if they decide to actually sidestep you? Because on that performance they may not want to meet you.
Well, that's probably right, because none of them want to meet me anyway, because they all think I'm too good. So, but in that performance I don't really care, because if I go into number 1 they'll have to fight me, and the highest I can be is number 2, so I'll wait an extra 9 months, I don't care.
How difficult an opponent was this man tonight? He had an awful lot of heart, hadn't he?
Oh yeah, very, very tough. I mean, I thought this guy's never going to go. He just kept coming. He had his high guard. He was hard to get through. But he was a tough customer. I thought the body shots were going to bring the arms down. They didn't bring him down. But I done the job. Done it well.
Certainly did. He's a positive man, Gary Jacobs. Now, just